Alright, here we go. We have a 1976 Layton travel trailer. This is what it looked like when I first bought it, and these are the designs that I came up with for it, that 6 months later are what it is now. So, starting off the build, the first order of business was getting a good blank slate to work with, so that meant getting rid of all the rust, patching holes, finding a way to seal the roof. So, using a steel brush, I ground down all the metal roof components in the frame. You can see on the inside I had to repair some of the wood rot on a few of the frame pieces. Then I covered all the metal bits with Rust-Oleum rust reformer. So right there we have the rubber membrane I used to seal the roof, holes I patched, tail lights, installed doorknob and lock. So you can see inside the camper I used roof sheathing as the membrane that holds the insulation underneath the subfloor. All of that was taped and sealed as well as it could be. Then we have the foam insulation and the subfloor, which was 5/8 plywood. So not long after that I moved on to the insulation. The original insulation you can actually see in there I left alone because I'm pretty sure it was asbestos. So I just went and covered that up with rock wool sound deadening insulation. As for the exterior, I used a white silicone roof paint for better temperature control in the summertime, and it sealed some of the places water was entering in the metal siding. The electrical system is a 120 volt AC system with a shore power connection, a solar and battery system which is 24 volts DC with an inverter to convert it to AC. You can also see the propane line running from the front over to the kitchen area where the propane stove and tankless water heater will be. The interior walls are an exterior T111 siding, which actually had a little bit of a smell when I first installed it, but after staining and sealing it with a water-based poly, diminished significantly and is now basically non-existent. It was a very satisfying moment flipping that switch for the first time to see the electrical system work. So we have my mini split air conditioner system, the insulation for the ceiling, and beadboard ceiling panels. Not long after that, I wired up the mini split air conditioner system, and what a relief that was considering it was July in South Carolina. Sadly, some of my solar panels arrived shattered, but good testimony for the company EcoWorthy, they replaced them very quickly and trusted that it was the shipping company and in fact not me. I went with a golden pecan stain for the wall and ceiling panels. The floor is a 1/4 inch birch plywood ripped into 6-inch planks and covered very heavily with floor polyurethane. This 2x4 is connected to the subfloor and the wall just to add rigidity. Here we have the bed frame and the beginning of the white pine trim. Up next we have the kitchen. It's framed in by 2x4s, has a 20-gallon water tank, a propane oven and stove combo, and a standard electric fridge and freezer. You can see there's a piece of the countertop that extends over where the shower pan is. I actually made that part removable. Right now it's on a hinge, but I changed that later. I used the leftover flooring and trim for the cabinet doors and leftover rubber membrane from the roof for the folding shower pan. The gray water tank is mounted underneath the camper for drainage, and you can see the plumbing there goes from the tank, filter, pump, and then into the sink and the instant water heater. There's the LEDs, wood stove, and removable counter on top of the shower. There's the exhaust fan in the cabinets. There it is outside. Before and after on the wood stove. Shower curtain. And the switches for the fans and water pump. So I have the exhaust fan wired up to a dimmer switch, and since it's pulling air out of the camper, whenever you open a window, it's like having a fan wherever the window is. Here we have the finished kitchen. So I accidentally ran into a piece of corrugated metal hanging out the back of my truck. Not the most fun day, but it healed. It's my little cat friend I kept seeing over the summer. It's the propane tanks mounted and installed, and the stove working for the first time. Also, here's the installed water heater. Here we have the specifications for my desk. I designed it so that it hid the wheel well. I could use it for storage, and it looks like an upright piano. I made the sides removable, and I stained it and polyed it with the floor poly for durability. Here are the rough-cut curtains. My mother insisted on hemming them and installing grommets, which I'm very grateful for. Mounted TV and jacks next to the gray water tank. The exterior outlet and lights are wired to a switch so I can control them from the inside. Here's the first interior shot where all the major components are there. New wheels and tires. The opposite side was very difficult to get off because it turns out it was reverse threaded. I repacked the wheel bearings and it was done. I will say the project took about twice as long as I thought it would, and I certainly underestimated the budget. I didn't anticipate how many small things there would be that would add up. But that's how projects go. Just like life, you hold your vision with an open hand, and when things change, you adjust. That's the funny thing though. Usually when things go wrong or there's some kind of practical hindrance, I've found that usually in the process of trying to find a way around the obstacle, you end up finding a new path, which is even better than you would have anticipated. I've certainly recognized that in my own life, and definitely during this project. I was originally going to build this whole project inside a school bus. Thank goodness for the obstacles in front of that, because I certainly would have been overreaching my budget and my ability. Once you accept those obstacles as something that you can't change and you really can't anticipate either, there's a lot of peace that goes along with just working. And there's no greater satisfaction than after you've found your way around a set of seemingly impossible obstacles. In fact, the bigger the challenge, the greater the peace. So I can tell you with confidence, having the camper done feels good. Now it's on to the next challenge.